Okay, that is enough of that. Oh, hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream to Left for Random Talk episode 33. I'm doing this for a while now.
Hello, everybody.
Crickets. Hello, everybody. Crickets. Okay, goodbye. To get give those of you who are just tuning in a bit of a I don't really know what word to use, really. I keep wanting to say explanation or something. This is a podcast that my friend Rev and I have been working on for years, and we've been doing this for quite a while now, almost a year.
Yeah, great, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And yeah, so it's a show about Azaku and a Houndoom talking about random shit.
Hopefully the models will change yet again. Oh, there we go. The bot has announced it to the group.
Yeah, of course. Curse you, late bot.
It's gonna do that. It has so many live streamers to work with. I'm never satisfied with the image that we have in the background. They're cute, but we need something perfect, something that really defines us.
Yeah, I understand. But for now, that's what's gonna be. So
yeah, I've made so many images of this thing. We're going to use it.
Anyway, so as per usual, every Thursday we go through a bit of some topics, usually covering news and the stuff of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
Or if it's just a random topic we want to talk about that day, that's going to be what it is. So, speaking of topics, let's go down the list. We have Outer World, Fallout meets Borderlands. Obsidian steps in where Bethesda failed. DevStream 120 overview. Baruch shown powers. New floofs, aka new species coming to the Valis. Wukong Deluxe skin, Mesa Prime look, and finally Operation Orb Heist.
Yay.
Oh boy. Mortal Kombat 11.
Can't wait for Navarra to walk around with a grappler.
Yes, with... Oh, Jesus. Anyway, Mortal Kombat 11 trailer. What we thought and our speculations for the next game. Mutant Year Zero, Road to Eden. An interesting game and part of a larger universe as it turns out. Rage 2 info, what we think of the game so far, and what we would like to see from it.
Oh, sorry,
Star
I'm
Wars...
eating.
It's fine. Star Wars 1313, possibly coming back? Who knows? And And finally, I guess our end topic for the evening. Which game series does horror best? Resident Evil or Silent Hill? Debate of the century.
There's a lot of horror games out there, but we'll get into that later.
Yep, and oh hey,
hello, Mort Delceiver.
Mutant Year Zero was a tabletop game in Europe. Also, pretty rad video game. Yep.
Yeah, it's based on like a whole bunch of early board games with a similar style to XCOM.
True. Once we and then silly face, of course.
Yeah. There's a YouTuber, Paul Source Jr. He's playing Mutant Year Zero, and he actually talked about the games that it was based on. He even has one of the first games that inspired XCOM.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, since we're talking about it, should we just skip everything and just jump into Mutant Year Zero? No. Okay.
We'll get to that in a second.
All right. So let's get into the first topic of the evening, and that is Outer World. What is Outer World?
I've seen the trailer.
So for people who want to know, Outer World is basically what happens if you cross Fallout with Borderlands.
Mm-hmm.
And that is basically what it is. So, basically speaking, it is, from what we've seen of the trailer, Outer World is basically, you are a colonist who came to the edge of the universe for a planet, basically, and you're getting thawed out. because apparently the company that you're a part of is trying to screw your fellow colonists out and are basically like marketing the entire planet as some sort of luxury resort slash theme park, apparently. Yeah, and that's basically what we know so far. Or the general gist of it, I should say.
So far, all I've seen is the fact that everybody loves his butt. Like,
No,
everybody on
yeah.
Tumblr, whoever has survived the great porn purge of Tumblr, all they care about is the fact that he has an amazing ass. But anyway, I saw the trailer. It's really funny and really pretty. And I like that the creators of the game highlighted, we were the people that made the good Fallout games. Like, the really good ones. We are not Bethesda.
And that is... sorry.
Bless you.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it feels like. This is basically Obsidian Games saying to Bethesda, hey, you fucked us over, so we're going to steal your fans now. What up?
And the best part
kind
is, they're very likely going to succeed with flying colors.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm excited for it.
Yeah, it is a very... So far, it's going to be a very interesting game. The characters we've seen, at least two of them, two of the NPCs we've seen, look very animated. You know, they're expressive. They're like, "Hey, how you doing? Yeah, that's great. Okay, come with me." That also said, there is actually, from what I'm seeing right now, as it turns out, the game will also have a similar conversation system to New Vegas. You look at the guy, the world pauses around you, he talks for a bit, and then you get to select one of three options. So they're basically using the Fallout New Vegas method of talking, which I think a lot of people will enjoy.
Yeah,
I mean,
I've never played New Vegas or any Fallout game.
Fair enough. Well, me personally, I'm more of a fan of when the game has a voice protagonist, so that way you can so that way the conversation just isn't so empty spaced. But I'm also not too bothered by this either. I mean, it's fine altogether.
I think I think what a lot of people kind of didn't care for was that when you're talking to a character in Fallout 4, the world is still going. Like, there are so many very funny videos of robots interrupting a conversation to slap you. Like,
yes,
I still love that video. And also, but it's also frustrating to be talking to an NPC and then suddenly a death claw will spawn.
And then whoop you. It's like, and there goes your game.
Or the super mutants.
Yeah.
I still love the slapping robot, though.
What I actually love is that all the characters have a sort of, I guess the enemies, you could say, have a sort of like pseudo science fiction realistic armor kind of setup, like the armor looks like it can stop a bullet, but it also has a bit of cloth here and there, makes it look more used, kind of the Star Wars kind of approach of armor. And I think that's the best way I can put it, really.
When I was watching the trailer, all I could think of was Oddworld. Strangers Wrath.
That's another thing I kind of noticed. It has this sort of Oddworld feeling to it, which is pretty cool, actually, if you ask me. I did see some of the critters, in the trailer. They look
really cool.
Wonderfully ferocious and concerning.
It's like No Man's Sky, only done properly.
Exactly. No retarded walking dinosaur.
The dinosaur with the tiny arms.
Exactly.
And the crappy Jurassic Park music playing.
Exactly. It's better than that, which is amazing somehow, which is saying a lot. There's going to be, the standard first-person shooter kind of pew 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 thing, which again I'm okay with. I'm not expecting like incredible detail, dynamic shoot. No, I'm just kind of like, okay, this is the norm. I'm fine with it. Yeah, I think the town's called Edgewater. Is that what they called it in the trailer?
Something. We just know that it's at the edge of the galaxy, or something like that.
Yeah, you can really tell that someone's like, okay, we know this place is shit. So instead of waking up the first colonists, let's just try to domesticate the landscape and just market it out the ass. It's
Essentially,
like,
the town you're in has really nice people in it, and then companies like Coca-Cola. Like, the best thing I can think of is like Coca-Cola, Pepsi. Well, not Pepsi. Pepsi's a good one. Budweiser, Adidas, etc., etc. Those like labels have taken over the town and have turned it into like a place for them to sell a whole bunch of stuff. And if somebody disagrees, they're dead.
it's kind of like what Jeff Goldblum said in Jurassic Park, the first one. Yeah, you play. What was it exactly? It was
Uh,
some. Oh God, it's gonna be
you
bothering me
thought too
now.
hard about what you could do, but you didn't stop to think of what you should do, or what you shouldn't do. Something along those lines.
Yeah, and then all I remember that is, and then you slapped it on a plastic lunchbox. That's the only thing I can remember from that
Like,
spiel.
it got worse with like Jurassic World. Like, Verizon introduces the Indominus Rex, and then when then the other guy goes like Tostito or Pepsi Saurus Rex, or something like that. Just naming the dinosaurs.
Oh no. To go on a slight side note, there is one thing about Jurassic World that did crack me up. There is a fucking Starbucks in the park.
Yeah.
That's me. It's like, why? It's like as if nobody would not notice that. Yeah.
We might
But
get a
anyway.
visitor for the Wukong segment.
Oh, good. But yeah, but overall, Outer Worlds seems to be coming out at the right time when Bethesda is basically just they've destroyed themselves. So now it's time for Obsidian to kind of come in and say, "Hey, look at this other thing we're doing based off of New Vegas. Aren't you excited?" And people are going to flock to this in waves. Because apparently they're also not what's the word? They're also using a different engine, which people have been begging Bethesda to do. So there's that
Obsidian
too.
Entertainment. What other games have they made? Let's find out.
Yeah, boy.
Tyranny, Deadfire. They made the Pathfinder game. Okay. Pillars of Eternity. That's a good one. Okay. They made South Park: The Stick of Truth. Fallout New Vegas, Alpha Protocol, Neverwinter Nights 2, Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic. Like, some of these names that I'm listing off, if they're a game you're interested in, then odds are The Outer Worlds is going to be a game you'll be interested in.
Yep. Like I said, people are gonna come to this and go like, "Yeah, screw you, Bethesda." Oh man. So the honest question is this going to cut into Bethesda's profit line?
Probably.
Like urgently.
Probably.
I can't wait. I can't fucking wait. I can't wait to see like Todd Howard sitting there, with behind the a little stand with a product of like Fallout 76, and then you have Obsidian, and there's just the biggest line in the universe for it.
It's just like a month or even like a week after The Outer Worlds comes out, and you go to like a, I don't know, E3 or some sort of gaming convention. It says, "Come get your game signed by Todd Howard," and then someone like points out, they go, "Who's Todd Howard?" And then like right next, like, and it's like a sticky note too, but like right next to it is like, "Come get your game signed by the lead developer of Obsidian. Oh, sweet, let's go do that.
Exactly. No, and it still cracks me up. Like the only way he's gonna get people to come to the little booth is if he wears the stupid Teletubby costume again and just holds the shotgun. So people are like, "Oh, he's the guy from that image." Okay. Jesus. It's gonna be an interesting time to say the least. Whew. All right. I guess we can move on then. So who is joining us for this?
Ostrich.
Oh, cool. So
I'll
this
let him know
is
that
Dev
he's free to
Stream.
join in. Unless you
All
want to
right.
cover other stuff before we go into the insanity that is Wukong.
Well, it's on the list. We could just kind of like ease into it, and then when he appears, it's like, okay, then Wukong.
Mhm.
All right. So, for everyone who watches Warframe and everything, this week again has had the dev stream, the 120, and they kind of showed stuff off.
Stuff.
Uh,
Just
kind of
so
showed a
everybody
few
knows,
things.
there is not going to be a dev stream this week.
Pardon?
There's not going to be a dev stream this week.
Okay. So we have some time to kind of relax then.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So basically, I actually have it open on my phone here because if I go anywhere else, it's gonna my connection.
Yeah, it's gonna cause you to freak out. Luckily, Liam is crazy about posting concept art in the group chat, so I already have the image of Wukong's new design.
Okay. So again, so let's get into it, or at least what was shown in the dev stream. Some of the stuff we are so actually let's get into the first one, and that is the floofs. Yeah.
Yay!
So as everybody knows, in the Valis, you can go into conservation huntings, pick up some critters, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get, I think it's 5 critter
5
tags.
tags, yeah.
Yeah. You can redeem them for a plushie of the creature you've hunted. Or save them up for a patch. As in like a fabric patch, sorry. So far now, it's pretty interesting. According to the devs, we are getting some new creatures for the Valis. 3 new ones. One is Kubro, another species that kind of looks like a vermink, and I don't know what the middle one is.
It's supposed to be
It's
like a
like a yellow.
sloth-looking critter.
Yeah, it looks like actually from the front, very weird. According to the notes, okay, here we go. One of the creatures or one of the new animals has toxic droppings, so you need to be careful when tracking. Wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Another one of these critters are only found in caves, so that will be very interesting to do, but
Yeah.
also very difficult. Specifically because what's the word? Specifically because sometimes in the caves you're gonna have corpus patrolling them, and you gotta clear
Or
them out.
those mites just suddenly spawn on top of your head.
Yeah, actually, have you ever seen the mites when
Yeah.
they're in the cave?
Yeah, they
Oh, that's
hang
so
upside
fucking
down like
creepy.
spiders.
It's so fucking creepy. You just walk in, it's like, oh dear.
What's worse is if you have a gun like say a Phantasma, which has the AOE attack, you're not going to hit all 3 of them. You're going to hit one of them, and they're going to crawl up into the ceiling, then drop down.
For some reason, you'd think they would just
Like
drop.
especially if you see the mites on the ceilings, but they don't see you, and you're able to turn invisible, like say Ivara or Loki. Bring an Atomos and kill all 3 of them really quick. Or bring an
Fair enough.
Archoplasma, or just something that hits all 3 in one go.
Yeah, the Archoplasmor is the best gun you want for like full on wave destruction. It's very amazing. Yeah, so those are the critters, or the new ones coming out. And now we have something new, which is the orb heist. Now, as everybody knows, the orbs are these massive four-legged spider crab monsters. found all over the Valis,
Mm-hmm.
and we can't hurt them.
Yep.
They got a shield going on, keeps them safe. But apparently, you can in the game right now. It is possible to wither the shield down.
Yeah.
To nothing, but you can't kill them.
Yeah.
So the orb heist is basically as follows in the notes here. Take orb heist. The first orb you'll be able to fight is Prophet Taker. So we're going to be stealing or destroying Nef's personal guard dog, which will be interesting. You need a minimum standing tied to Vox Solaris, and that's probably Ostrich.
Yes, it is. Keep going.
Hello?
He's muted. Just keep going.
Right. So that's basically it. You need minimum standing with Solaris United, and you have to do the Vox Solaris quest. So it's going to lead in to the orb heist, which is good. It means that it's a continuation. So if you haven't done the quest yet, it'll be interesting. It'll flow in quite nicely.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to it.
Another thing that the trailer of that added, a couple of dev streams ago, quite a while ago, they mused the idea of allowing Warframes to use Arcwing guns, not the melee, just the guns. In the trailer, we see a Rhino standing there with a Grappler as though it was a minigun. I am so very excited.
Yes, finally, we get to use the weapons that the Tusk Grenier. Thank God.
I can't wait to have Ivara walk around with a Grappler. This is a tiny little Warframe with this giant gun.
Yes. Oh man, it's been so. You know what's funny? When Arcwing first came out, people were asking, "Hey, will we ever get to use Arcwing weapons as actual weapons?" And Steve and I believe the others said, "No, you can only use them in space because they're way too heavy to be used on the ground." Well, look now. Several years later, we can use them. Amazing.
Yay.
Yeah, a few Titania changes, yada. Yeah. Vent Kid theme operator cosmetics coming out. So, oh god, what's her name? The the girl that sells you the K drop.
Roki.
Roki. So you'll get to dress up as a Roki, which is kind of cool. And
I want those dreadlocks.
Yeah, you'll get that with the Brook cosmetics, which will be cool. And now we go to Baruch. My god, that is a crazy looking frame.
He's based off of Africa, African tribesmen.
He's based off.
I'm sorry, my brain is just not working right. I have finally taken a sip of coffee, and it's almost 6 o'clock here.
He's the entire continent come to life.
No. He's based off of a South African tribesmen and shamans, essentially Baruch. Now we're gonna just focus on the Warframe here. Baruch is a pacifist. He does not want to fight, but he will if he is pushed too far.
Yes. Actually, this has kind of led me and a few others speculate what is going on with Baruch's look. And some have suggested that this isn't what he looks like naturally. Some believe that Baruch removed or quote unquote skinned himself as a way to kind of detach himself from the warpath of a Warframe. That's what a lot of people are kind of speculating. Because if you really look at Baruch's body and how he's designed, you can really he has kind of a similar thing going on with how Valkyr looks, you know?
Yeah.
That kind of thinned, skinned look, and he kind of has that
sinew
going
and
on
muscle
too.
look.
Exactly, but his is more this is the undershell self, or to use a Transformer terminology, he's kibbleless.
Yeah.
All right. I actually have his abilities here, so I can list them off real quick. The first one is Elude. Cone of damage mitigation in front of you. Bullets pass right through you. Damage mitigation builds up edge. placeholder name meter. The higher your edge, the more damage reduction you are given as well. So that's good. Radio sleep that ramps up sleepiness until enemies pass out. Lingers for a couple of seconds, so enemies that enter the AoE after cast will be affected. Bonus damages to finishers on sleeping foes. Third ability, subdue, summon disarm charges that float around Baruch. When the enemies enter range, one of the charges fly out, dealing a small amount of damage and disarming enemies. So kind of like Loki's disarmament ability.
Yeah.
Charges can also jump into allies within range, giving them charge to foe, so energy, I suppose. After damage reduction based on the number of charges available, similar to Nova's Null Star. And finally, the fourth ability is Savage. Activate use of Fist Exalted weapons that also drain from your edge meter. Different combos can be used with different effects. Sly attacks create a radial lift, which might be adding a slow effect to. Block combo pulls enemies towards you, and forward combo ragdolls enemies back further and further. It has also been nicknamed the Passy Fist.
They actually went with that joke.
So fucking funny. Yeah, it's. This is why I love.
I watched that dev stream. Jesus Christ, they actually went with that joke.
Yeah, it's like this is why we love VODE. They're so nerdy.
Mm.
And now we come to the part everyone's been pretty interested about, Wukong Deluxe.
I'm putting his design on screen now. Ostrich, you can unmute yourself now.
Yee.
Woo.
so excited.
I'm going to point this out here, because this is mostly like a joke that Ostrich has latched onto. OmniVoice did that video about the few Wukong mains. And Ostrich is one of the Wukong mains. So he is like the 7th or 8th or so.
I think it's like the 8 mains.
There's one for every direction, the north, south, east, and west, but then every northeast, southeast.
Yeah.
But no, I have only met 2 other people playing Wukong while I was playing, or just in general while playing Warframe. And neither of them were happy about the frame.
Nobody.
The frame. They were just doing grind. Mastery rank grind on them.
Yeah, it's so sad that nobody likes Wukong, even though Wukong is the most, the legendary Wukong is such an asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right, I said it.
Well, here's the thing. Wukong as a frame is really good. A problem that a lot of people have is the combo for his staff. If they had like a better combo, or just had more use, or just improving the staff in general would make him better.
That's where at least I just kind of sat down and took the time to learn it, because there's various combos they can pull off with it, but it just depends on the situation. Like there are times that I need to get out, so I'll do there's a certain combo that I'll try to pull that ends with a, like the second to last, if not the last attack is a dash, and I can just dash out through a group of enemies when needed, and then just jump away after that. Mm-hmm. But then there are others that, like, there's a combo when I'm surrounded that I like to pull where he just keeps the staff at its widest and starts slamming it into a ground, dealing an AoE.
Oh yeah, I've seen that one.
But then if they're all in front of you and you're carving your way through, just the standard combo works. Or you can use the dash combo to get in the midst of it and then AoE everything again.
Yes.
It's a fun frame. It's just a lot of people don't like to take the time to learn them after they learn other frames like Equinox and Limbo, but also take quite a bit of learning.
Well, yeah, most people warframes have simpler abilities or abilities you can make a lot of use for in a lot of different situations, not just very situations, I guess. You know, like taking Auros, you have the has no shields, but if you just build up his energy, you can basically be immortal, like I do.
Ostrich is like the expert of using a warframe in ways you never thought would actually work, but somehow it does. Like
Melee
the tank Limbo. The melee tank Limbo.
Yes.
Or the tank Loki. He uses warframes the way you're not really told to use them, and somehow it works. Like when he first got Limbo, I told him, like, okay, here's some things you really should not do. This, and this. You will die. We go and do this, and this, and this. He doesn't die. I die. It's like, son of a bitch.
Yes. It's like fate just hates us. So, to kind of bring up the Limbo Deluxe skin, this is clearly based on that whole what is it? His myth of stuck under the mountain, isn't it?
What?
In I believe it's
you
Chinese
said Limbo Deluxe, I think.
I'm sorry, Wukong Deluxe.
Yeah.
This is clearly based on, you know, within the Monkey King myth when he gets trapped underneath the mountain for so long. This is clearly based on that event.
Oh, if only Bill was here. He knows the legend so well.
Yes, he is our resident Chinese lore expert.
Not really.
When it comes,
I will say though,
when it comes to Wukong.
I will say though that Wukong may also be a not that popular frame, partly because it takes a special kind of player that is a special kind of insane / suicidal, like I am at times in Warframe, for it to actually click. Because like there are some, like it's not. It can be a team player, but you got to use it like that. If you use it to its abilities, you might end up just playing solo. And if that's your thing, then good on you. But a lot of people forget that they could still charge in and run right smack through the entire enemy line as Wukong, carving the path all the way just to revive that one downed ally.
I think that's kind of the point of why DE made Wukong how he is. I think they're trying to reward the reckless player.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, reckless in quotes, I should say.
But it's like Wukong is. I don't tend to like tanks, but as far as Wukong is concerned, I do, because I've tried Frost, I've tried Rhino, and it's not clicking. I don't like them that much. Yeah. But then Wukong, I can go anywhere and everywhere and just cause mayhem.
I think the thing is, everybody has. There's actually more than just one type of tank. Like there are tanks that are quite literally there to absorb the damage. You know, bullet sponges. There are those who are there to hold up a shield, like Reinhardt in Overwatch. He is meant to protect all those behind him. And then there are those who are meant to jump into the fight, taking all the aggro with them, and cause hell. That's what like Wukong and Valkyrie are meant to do. They jump into the fight, they cause hell, and they bring all the aggro to them. Exactly. Frost is the kind that is both a bullet sponge and protecting all those around him. He's a guardian tank, best way to describe it.
Yeah, what I find with a lot of tanks is that I have trouble clicking with is stand there, take the damage, and charge through and take the glory. But with Wukong, it's more you're going about and you're taking the damage, and then you get right up in the enemy's face so he knows that you know he was dealing the damage, and then you finish him.
Like that's another thing about Wukong. Like,
and then you skip away.
Wukong is a mobile bullet sponge. He doesn't just stand there and take it. Oh, there goes Rev. He doesn't just stand there and take the damage like, say, Rhino or Frost. He actually does something about it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You can stay mobile. You have all the mobility. You sacrifice some of the tankiness, but you still have all the DPS and you gain all the speed for it.
Exactly. And again, like I said, to be fair, it's just a matter of getting used to this different kind of playstyle, I think.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like Neja as well. He's fast, but he also has a form of iron skin as well. It's just a matter of getting used to it.
It's like when you look at Wukong for the first time, you see like the thing that sticks out most is the defy ability. So you don't die. Okay, that's cool and everything. So I'm going to spam that. No, you save that. That's your emergency button. Whenever you're about to go down, that's when you pop it, and that's when you make them pay. Because with the defy, there's still limits. Sure, you're immortal in a sense, but you got to watch the energy. You got to manage. You can't just pop 2 and 4 and win.
This is why so many people have issues with Rhino. Inexpensive Gamer is the one I always refer to about this. Rhino is a great tank. He's a great Warframe, but he's also he's a crutch. He's a hindrance. He actually cripples you heavily because he instills this mindset to new players that, oh, I am amazing if I only ever use this one ability. That's what makes this one frame amazing. This one ability. That's it. With a Rhino pop iron skin, you're practically invincible, and you just stomp or you use your roar, and that's it. That's all you're good for. That's all he can do.
Yes. He's more crowd control.
Support. He's more of a support tank.
Exactly, that's it.
Yeah.
And the point is, you have to get, if you're in a group, that is the role you have to, you got to put on, and that is, I am here to, also here to help everybody else when they need it.
Wukong is not like that at all.
Yeah, the point I want to make about Ryan.
Now, a single one of Wukong's abilities, if I remember correctly, helps the other team except for the staff, and that's just you swinging like a madman. Otherwise,
nothing directly buffs or nothing buffs allies. The only the closest that you could consider is Cloudwalker, which personally I'm still messing with. I've still yet to see this fully in effect, but in text, last I checked, it's supposed to, you go up, and then whenever you come down, it stuns nearby enemies within 5 meters, something like that. It's a small range. And I guess that could be considered one, but not really, because I don't see that a lot. And
it gives,
players I've seen.
From what I can understand from what I'm reading here, because I am on the wiki as usual, it gives your teammates a window of opportunity, but like a very short window of opportunity.
Yeah.
Wukong is not a support tank. He is okay, you guys have guns, I have a stick, I'm gonna beat their asses and do the job. He's that kind of tank. Like, he gets the job done.
Again, in order to play Wukong, you must embody the Monkey King.
Essentially,
What's crazy is I think HH will agree I do that well.
yes, he does.
What are you doing?
What do we know about Wukong the Monkey King? He likes to have fun, but he's also a piece of shit.
He's an incredible
What
prick.
are you doing, Ostrich? What are you doing? Why are you running straight towards the terrorist as Limbo? I'm gonna poke him with a fishing spear.
Like, no joke. When I first took Ostrich out into the plains, he was Limbo. And I was explaining to him the Terrorlist and how powerful it was and how he wasn't ready to fight that. Terry spawns. I'm like still explaining. I look around. He's not there. I look over and he's running at the Terrorlist and throwing the spear at his dick. And I am over there as like a frame that is definitely not fit for fighting a Terrorlist. I will die within one hit.
But what's funny is I got away with it.
Yeah. Until he ran up to the Terrorlist again with a mining laser as Loki. Then I had to pick your ass up.
But no, I want that now, like somewhere that says, in order to play the Monkey King, embody the Monkey King. Just
pretty much. Like, what I can safely say is, playing Wukong requires patience and, like, who the hell is calling me? And taking time to understand the Warframe. Like, it's such a weird thing to say, but like, people who go into Wukong are so used to frames like Rhino and Frost and Valkyr and maybe Neja. Wukong is a totally different beast. He is not the same tank that you're used to, so you need to keep that in mind.
exactly.
I feel like a way to describe it is the so in actual tank terms, anybody that plays World of Tanks, War Thunder, something like that, a Rhino or a Frost is more of like your heavy tank that's going around doing stuff, and then Valkyr and Wukong tend to be the lighter tanks or the medium tanks that are running around wherever they're needed to help out the big tanks or just anyone in general.
Mm-hmm.
But Wukong is the more suicidal of the two.
I'd say
just for some reason, you don't know if the game is messing up or if it's just dumb luck, but he just won't die for some reason. You're sure you hit him. You're you hit him, but you did not see that health bar go down.
That's my point. It's like this Warframe really does encompass what it is to be Wukong. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Because
I think it. Go ahead.
I think Wukong and Valkyr are like the best comparisons. Like, a lot of people go like Valkyr and Garuda. Garuda's a great tank, kind of, but she is like more the insanity. She leans more towards the suicidal than Wukong does, because she causes more damage the lower her health is.
Yeah.
But Valkyr and Wukong, they are fast. They hit hard, and they will not die.
Fuck, boy.
Yeah, they do not die.
I've actually I'm in the process of just testing Wukong to see how high I can tweak the damage. So I'm loading up Wukong himself with ability strength mods, and then loading up Iron Staff with anything and everything to buff the impact damage.
Mm-hmm.
And I found at least like the basic weakest enemies, certain enemies in like the level 60 range, I can one shot with Iron Staff. One, if not two shot.
Fair enough.
And he does hit hard.
Yeah. If you build Garuda right, she can do the same.
Well, this is what I want to say, though.
Go ahead.
Thank you. This is what I want to say about the skin. To get back to the skin for just a second.
Yeah, sorry.
This is gonna be again, this is another one of those war frames that I like to refer to as like this is nature. Because let's look at it for a second. This thing is like, okay, now it shall create a rock golem who just happens to be a monkey. Does nobody else see it?
I kind of see it, but like, Wukong's armor is a black stone.
Yeah.
I thought the lore of the Monkey King had him actually be like there was a stone. There was a big stone that broke in half and left a smaller stone, and that smaller stone was essentially an egg that became Wukong, who was a little stone monkey. That's the summary that I heard, at least.
I don't think I've ever heard that version. All I know is the bit about him getting stuck under the mountain. Because basically heaven said, okay, we're having enough of this shit.
Am I allowed to name drop a YouTube channel, or?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I literally, I dropped a Omni Voice and like Inexpensive Gamer, so go for it.
The version that I got was the one from part 1 of Overly Sarcastic Productions' Journey to the West.
Oh, I know that one.
Yeah. Because it was the
Okay.
The first few chapters are just Wukong.
I found it.
Okay.
Sun Wukong, also known as the Monkey King, is a figure who features in a body of legends which can be traced back to the period of the Song Dynasty. He appears as a main character in the 16th century Chinese classical novel Journey to the West. In the novel, he is a monkey born from a stone who acquires supernatural powers through Taoist practices. After rebelling against heaven and being imprisoned under a mountain by the Buddha, he later accompanies the monk Tang Sanzang. Please forgive me for getting these names wrong. It's been a while since I spoke Chinese. On a journey to retrieve Buddhist sutras from the West. He possesses immense strength. He can lift 13,500. Can't say that word, so it's essentially 17,550 pounds. Yeah, that's his staff. His staff weighs 17,000 pounds?
Yeah, so at least from the summary that I got, that I remember, or from what I remember of the summary, he got his staff because he decided that he needed a new weapon. So he went to some dragon. Dragon was cool with it, went through the entire horde and was like, man, I don't like any of this stuff. So he grabbed a pillar. The pillar shrank down to the size of a staff and apparently had infinite length and could be as long or as short as he wanted it, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how he got his staff.
He is also extremely fast. In one somersault, he can travel 13,468 miles.
Not surprising.
He knows the 72 earthly transformations, which allow him to transform into various animals and objects. However, he has trouble transforming into other forms due to the accompanying incomplete transformation of his tail.
Exactly. I remember that. I believe one part of the legend was something like he tries to mimic either a demon or a person, but he just can't get rid of the tail, so he uses it as a belt.
Yeah.
Or
this is something that is seen in. This is something seen in a lot of movies, and this is the one I know the most. Each of his hairs possess magical properties, capable of being transformed into clones of the Monkey King himself, and or into various weapons, animals, or other objects. Meaning he can summon his staff from his forehead, like in that CGI movie that came out.
One of many.
That would be interesting, because especially with the standard helmet only has the one eye. Or one thing that we think looks like an eye.
Assumed to be an eye, yes.
Yeah. It'd be interesting if there was a thing where he pulled it out of that. If there was an animation you could get.
Well, I think the cloning aspect would have been more interesting. Like, kind of do Mesa's clones and then have them appear like, oh look, it's over there and over there, you know.
That would be an interesting idea to replace the one, because honestly, the one is meant, his one where he just boops with the staff, essentially, it feels underwhelming. It's satisfying when you hit them with it and they ragdoll, but past that, it's just its main like actual utilitarian purpose is to up your combo so that you can summon Iron Staff at a greater length. Which why would I do that when I can increase it by 60% with a maxed out reach mod?
Again, I think they could rework some of Wukong's abilities. I mean, they've been reworking everyone, so why not?
Yeah.
Wukong.
I want to see, not to the extent of the Chinese build. Maybe not an entire room of Iron Staffs, as awesome as that would be. But maybe increase the length at least a bit, because I think the current max is plus 200%, and there are times where it's like where I'm at that, like I have the combo to get it to max length, and it's just it feels like I could really use a little bit more length to this staff right now.
It's like I could use a bit more. I'm not quite touching the moon right now.
Like, I'm not saying an entire room, but maybe another 100 or 2. I'm not asking much, only another 100 or 2.
You're saying picturing people just getting Wukong, doing the staff, and then just moving from one point of the plane to the next, as if it's nothing.
No,
I think if they did something like that, it would have to be like Nova's portals. You drop it down, and it's there. But whenever you're in a it's more like Sombra's teleporters. But whenever you're in a sticky situation, you hit the button, you teleport away.
I'm about to. I would have asked, is this one of the powers he has? But then I remembered, this is the fucking Monkey King. He probably does.
No, he can't teleport to his hair.
Amazing.
But this is the last in the list of his abilities from Sun Wukong. He knows spells to command. Wind, part water, conjure protective circles against demons, and freeze demons and gods alike. Okay, he can freeze gods.
That's what they could do. They could up or replace Cloudwalker to be a shield similar to Gara, Frost, Limbo, like all those, but they could have various symbols along it instead.
Good work. Good work.
Like
I like how this whole thing has become the Wukong stream.
I can say this, Ostrich, and I know that like when this day happens, you're gonna cream yourself so hard. Wukong is not that far away from being the next Prime, because they traded place.
Prime would be great.
Yeah. They traded Mesa and Chroma's listings. So instead of Mesa being before Chroma was primed. Now Mesa is primed. All that's next is either Equinox, Atlas, or Wukong.
I guess it would depend on what players would want.
Everybody wants Atlas.
So
if they give Wukong a good enough rework, like I feel like it would work if they gave him a rework right before, if not right on, like right around the time of Prime release. Like give him a rework right around then, and that would give a major boost to the interest. And as people are, because this is Warframe, everyone grinds, everyone wants every frame at max. As people are using Wukong Prime to get the mastery rank fodder and all that, they might realize that they like it if they give it a rework. And I personally think if they switched out Cloudwalker or the 1 or the 3, if they change either of those to be like a shield and like a large shield like Gara's, or like Limbo, or like just a bubble kind of like those other ones.
I think more of like
It would
Volt
give him-
Shield.
Yeah, even that. If they gave him something like that, that would give at least one ability to use in favor of teams. And that would give something for people to actually want Wukong for, other than just to have fun.
Fair enough, fair enough.
Jesus
Alright, I
Christ,
think
it's
that
winter. Why are you still buzzing around?
Anyway,
I haven't hibernated yet.
There is a mosquito flying around. I don't know where it came from. There's no water. Why is it still alive?
I don't know.
It's confused.
It's confused.
It tuned in. It's one of the 7 Wukong mains.
I'm hurting my hands trying to kill this thing.
It's using Defy.
Pretty much. I actually clapped it twice. It's still buzzing around. Okay, we can either move on to another topic, or we can keep going all crazy about Wukong.
Well, I was going to mention. I was actually just going to say, in the last bit of the dev stream was actually just the Equinox Deluxe skin. That is like. There's a lot of things going on with that skin. I'm just saying that, like, this is overly designed. You know?
I honestly wasn't paying attention.
It's based off of like Angels and Demons this time.
Supposedly, but it looks more Japanese influenced.
Also, someone did a really great fan art for Chroma, making him look more like a beast. Awesome.
Again, people want the beast frame, but DE does not want to create a beast frame.
Cough, cough. I thought that was Oberon. Cough, cough.
No,
Oberon. Oberon is clearly.
Oberon is a goat.
Yeah,
exactly.
Goat boy. The closest we have to Beast Boy is Wukong.
Monkey. You're actually not wrong.
He really wants to fucking. Like, I'm just picturing him sitting there with a fucking Wukong body pillow just right next to him.
You're either completely into Wukong or you're not.
Exactly.
Is it like, what is that meme? Where you live long enough to become a villain.
Yeah, it's from Batman. But no, overall, I like where they're going with it. It's, again, this is what I've noticed about the deluxe skins that DE creates, and that is, some of them are like based off of an element, like they're an elemental based warframe, design wise, I mean. And then there are those that have armor, almost clothing going on, which makes me think they're, you know, like, these are not warframes, they're just warriors, you know, that decide to embody what it is to be a warframe. And this is what I've kind of noticed. Wukong looks more like an elemental creature, and Equinox looks like someone who just based their armor off of Equinox frame.
Equinox essentially embodies what it stands for. Balance, like a split personality. And what better balance than like angel and demon? Oh, that's not what I meant to put. Wait, no, that is.
Angel and demon. This thing over here.
But usually Equinox, everybody compares to the sun and the moon, you know, light and dark. Angel and demon is very similar. Very, very similar. I like it.
Equinox is a very peculiar warframe, one I've always been curious about. Like, as we all know, warframes are built someone's body, typically. So I'm curious to know, how did Equinox come into
I think I might know.
Two twins born under the sign of Gemini were...
Ostrich. Shush. You've gotten full standing with Solaris, Rev?
Almost. I'm one rank below.
Okay. Rude Zood is like the best example of this entirely.
Mm-hmm.
Zood had sisters, and they were all linked in a sensorium.
Right.
So they could see through each other's eyes and use each other's hands. And then her sisters died, and she was left with her eyes and her hands. One body now. She's all alone. I think
Yes.
Equinox was two sisters in a sensorium. They were linked. They shared a body, pretty much. Then
Alright.
comes the fucking Orican. Fuck you, Ballas. And they not only were they great fighters, because this is what the Warframes used to be. They were great warriors or hunters, or they were amazing at what they did, thus turning them into what they are now.
Right.
And using the sensorium and how they create Warframes, they created Equinox through this method.
2 minds, 1 body.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, bringing that up about the Orican, in Orican society, to look identical to another is frowned upon. Basically, if you have a physical appearance that looks exactly the same as another person, they would deem you a clone, and clones are deemed as slaves. So if they were, they were made, they were basically as slaves. So maybe they were taken by force.
I think,
and nobody batted.
In this case, because like when you look at Equinox, day and night look vastly different. I think with these two, like with the two sisters, they did not share the same appearance. They had some changes to them, either before the Orican discovered them or afterwards, who knows. But they are sisters. They just don't look the same. One is calming and sweet, night form. The other is more brash and ready to fight, light form.
Yes, and the question becomes like, again, it is curious. Warframe was before becoming the Warframe, and I actually do wish DE would release something so we could see it, like
we get to see the backstories of each Warframe.
Exactly, and they were kind of doing that with the comics, but they were more like small snippets of Orican society or what it was like to be in that period. But it kind of devolved away from the Warframe and more about the backstory of the universe, which again I wasn't bothered by. Really.
Yeah, a lot of people want to know this stuff.
Exactly. What I think is that maybe DE should release single images showing before Warframe.
Oh my god, it's back.
It's sorry. What I was saying was I think DE should release images or concept art of what or who were the Warframes before they became infested and turned into Warframes.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe even with like a small description that says before becoming, I don't know, Excalibur, he was a great warrior, yada yada yada, that kind of thing. I honestly think DE should do that, and if they do, it'll be quite interesting.
Now begs the question of Stalker.
Oh, we know what he is from the beginning.
Bare minimum.
Low Guardian. Go ahead.
Bare minimum. It could even be like just bare minimum. Could just be like the Warframe in its agile or noble pose, but half is the frame and half is the individual. Yeah. Because it's going to be the same person in their standard fighting style and all that. I'll just assume that the Warframe amplifies that.
Yeah, what I'm thinking is that if they do go with that half and half thing, it should be the right side that is normal so people can get a good look at it, and then the left side's the Warframe. Get a general...
I'm curious about Ivara now.
Well, this is the thing I've been noticing a lot from some of the information we've gotten on some of the Warframes, and that is, according to Orican Society and all that stuff, I've noticed that there is subtle information revealed. Like, let's take Garuda for an example real quick. She is insane. She slaughters people. This makes me think that Garuda, before becoming Garuda, might have been a serial killer, might have been someone that just killed for the sake of it. And one day she was captured, imprisoned, but then, what's the word? Captured and imprisoned, but instead of being put to death, Ballast comes and offers her two choices: either die or accept the Orokin's new Warframe initiative and live on, continue what you enjoy doing for us. And she chose the latter. That's what I think it is.
And then with that logic, Limbo, the one thing that hurts sentience is the void. So then Limbo could have been some great scientist working on said project, and they decided to approach him about becoming a Warframe for that.
Exactly. The thing is that Ballast says, volunteers or not, they became Warframes, and they were the best of their field, or the best of what they were. Hunters, fighters, scientists, etc., etc.
Exactly. So that said, it would be interesting to find out these individuals before it, who they were. And again, the only thing I appreciate from that point of view is Umbra. Mm-hmm. He's the only one I can think off the top of my head who has this we know who he was, what he was before becoming the Umbra.
Yeah.
And it's a shame. I mean, there is a lot of potential for quests involving Warframe Warframes that could explore what they were before becoming Warframes.
I have to say, Garuda was kind of disappointing. Like, when you get the Garuda blueprint, Yutiko just tells you, we found this thing tangled up in some fungus years ago, take it. That's it. We don't know anything about her. With Korra, we got a good idea, and she's like, her parts are scattered inside Samaris's dungeon. It's like, what the fuck is going on there?
Well, that's the thing I want to mention is that what I assumed that happened to Garuda, at least when it came to finding her remains in the fungus, I think it's possible that after the Orokin fell and everything, she just lost her mind and just started killing and killing and killing and killing to the point where finally, after years and years of just slaughter, she was exhausted, injured probably, and just laid there and died. And then all that blood, all that biomass she accumulated fed the fungus around her and grew from her.
Yeah. Fungus grows from rot and decay.
Yeah, so it's very likely that this area, the reason why all this fungus is here is because maybe the site of the last place she had her greatest slaughter and died on top of it all.
There's also, the fact that those towers are filled with meat.
Also possible.
Yeah. I think, and I remember we talked with Lycan when Garuda came out and all that stuff, that one of her abilities is bloodletting. She damages herself to gain energy. I think near the end, she just pushed that way too far. Like, there's nobody else there to kill, but hey, I need energy just in case. And she just kept going, and in her mind, she's thinking, like, I need this just in case. I need to keep going. She keeps going and going, and then, it kills her.
Yeah, intoxicated by her own bloodlust, basically. That's what I think happened.
It could have even been, that could have, like, all the fungus could have been an army sent to try to stop her.
Yeah, also.
No.
These are Warframes, though, okay? They don't joke around. We were just talking about Wukong and his ability to slay.
I also wanted to point out Enoros. The reason he died was because he unleashed the worst sandstorm in his entire existence.
He pushed himself too far.
And he not only that, but the sandstorm was so powerful it destroyed every infested that came to the point where they couldn't pop again in that area, at least for a good while.
But then with Garuda, what we have of Garuda are all puppets. The original Garuda, though, may have still had blood in her veins and everything. So with the bloodletting technique that she has, she could have kept doing that, and the adrenaline could have kept going. But then once the adrenaline wore off after the fight, what is there left? She doesn't have enough blood to live.
Exactly. Which I
There's
would
also
find
the
very
fact
ironic.
that when Garuda does her ability, that orb of blood appears over her head and has a very large number if you do that enough times, a couple thousand. I think like that blood not only holds like damage type, it also holds like really condensed pocket of blood, really condensed. So let's say she has been doing this all over the Orb Valis, and she accumulated roughly 1 million damage or so, like the highest she can go. And she bloodlets herself so much that she dies. That orb of blood is going to explode with all that blood going everywhere in the Valis, with all of that condensed. It's going to go everywhere.
Yeah.
And that would definitely be
Awesome.
enough for fungus to grow.
Also likely. Like I said, these are just...
Question is, too, though, what about Wukong and Nezha? You just buy them from Clan.
This is the problem we have with like every Warframe before the quests were implemented. They just exist. And I really think DE should go back. Like, you know the periods of the content drought, right? Like when there's nothing to do. I think this is happening as they're getting ready for the content or the big patch to come out. They should go back to the Warframes they have and say, okay, let's make some quests so people are entertained for a little bit, and then once, to mitigate the drought enough, and then have enough people interested so we can do the next big
essentially drop. Like translate, because I believe you cut out halfway through there. Instead of creating more and more and more Warframes that are, some of them are just recycling other Warframes abilities or taking abilities that other Warframes had like taken away and adding it to this guy. Instead, like, take a step back and return to the originals to spice them up, to give them a story, give them a background, give us a bit more understanding of what these guys were or what they are. Instead of here they go, they just exist. Grind for it.
Exactly. And I think doing that, again, even short 3
second topic.
Of that.
You have cash?
Give me a second.
All right.
The only...
Go ahead.
I can come up with kind of a theory of why Wukong and Nezha are different, and they just... Because you have to get the parts and all that for the other ones. Like, you could throw together a theory that, they died from the bosses and they kept them as trophies or something. With all the all the frames that you get from bosses. But with Wukong and Nezha, what if they just were never found? What if it was more so like when you buy them from the clan, but you buy them? What if it was like Warframes are valuable? What if they were just never found and then someone stumbled upon the bodies or something and sold them on the black market?
Well, that's what is hinted at with the Sergeant. He's doing exactly what you're saying, but with Warframe cryopods. So it's entirely possible that this has happened. And the fact is that maybe these... Welcome back. It's entirely possible that these Warframes do exist out there. It's just they've been bought, sold, and resold for a very long time, to the point where nobody knows where the original...
Just so you guys know, we've been talking about this very topic for an entire hour.
I know. So I believe we've got everything off our chest, at least for this, for now, anyways.
Ostrich is a maniac. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I believe we can move on to the next bit.
Have you tried the shock fishing? Have you tried the shock fishing spear against the Terrorist yet?
No, I've been wanting to, but no one's been wanting to join me.
Also, we have not done the group of Equinoxes on the plains yet, or the bachelor party.
Jesus.
We've done bachelor party once.
Oh yeah, we did. No, actually, no, we didn't. Snow didn't participate.
True.
It was just me and you as Limbo. Anyway,
All right. So I suppose we can move on then.
thank you, Ostrich.
Yeah, thanks for joining
You're
us.
welcome.
All right.
Let me know if you need another maniac again.
No.
All right. All right, and there we go. So let's move on to the next topic, and that is Mortal Kombat 11.
Oh boy.
This trailer. Or did you see the trailer?
No, I didn't even know there was going to be another Mortal Kombat.
Well, it dropped, I believe this week, or somewhere around there. I'm not sure. And it was a very short trailer involving Raiden fighting Scorpion.
Uh,
This time version Scorpion, the good guy, the one who gets turned back into a human.
Ah.
And is no longer a ghost. And then Raiden kills him. And it's very shocking. But then out of nowhere, classic Scorpion appears and they fight. And then classic Scorpion kills evil Raiden suddenly. Like he literally goes through him, and all that's it's gone. All that's connecting the upper and bottom half is just the spine. It's insane. And the trailer ends with a giant owl sound and a bald lady with like sections of her body glowing a bright blue transparent color touching the top of the hourglass and then looking at the camera, and then it just ends. Also with the obvious, hey, pre-order and get this character for the game, which is Shao Kahn. They said they
right
wouldn't
in his
bring-
face. Oh, right in his face. I'm watching the trailer myself.
Oh, Jesus.
Like, he just got stabbed through the face by those things. And his face is still intact.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
Ah, his hand. Oh, God, no. I did not just see that.
Timing. My wrist just broke. It's like, yeah.
And he explodes his head.
Yeah, wait for it. And then look up. And there's classic.
Why is Raiden's electricity red?
Because in the end of 10, he became evil. Or corrupted.
Oh, I missed you, classic Scorpion.
I missed you. That's something you don't hear every day.
I've loved watching the movie when I was younger. Oh, hello, bald lady.
You see here.
Why is the sand in the hourglass going up instead of down?
Oops, sorry, you cut out there. Hold on, you're cutting out for me. Try again.
Oh God, Shao Kahn, really?
You see? They said they wouldn't bring him back. No, fuck you. He's back.
I thought Onaga abducted him.
No, at the end of 9, he's killed by the Elder, and then they said they would.
Yeah.
Like his soul and body are gone.
Yeah.
And then at the end of 10, Raiden becomes corrupted. He kills Shinnok or decapitates him. And it's implied that he's going to do things evilly. Like he's now
I'm
obsessed
going
with
to create lightning. Evilly.
No.
I'm gonna go take a shit. Evilly.
But no. But the point is that he's now obsessed with protecting Earth to the point where it's possible he's gonna start destroying things and like lead invasions and that kind of shit. That's what's being implied.
Mm-hmm.
And now we have this, and I think it's going back to the whole time stream kind of thing, where basically time is being fucked over by something, and maybe some fix things or alter the history again.
I do not like time gimmicks.
9 did it well, because it acknowledged the events of the previous game, but also kind of changed slightly. This is like this smells of let's get every character we've ever created in one game again.
Let's bring back the classics.
It's getting concerning, if anything. Like, really concerning.
Also, I think I might know why we're cutting out so much. My brother is home on his phone.
Okay, and apparently there have been 2 leaked character images.
Fuck you, Shao Kahn.
Aside from Shao Kahn, actually, if you notice, something really weird. Very bony, almost scale-like. What if it's not really Shao Kahn?
It likely isn't.
It's the Dragon King. He's there.
I loved Onaga, by the way. He was one of my favorites.
Imagine if that's the twist. It's not really Shao Kahn. It's Onaga.
Mm-hmm.
Pretending to be Shao Kahn.
I even created an OC named Onaga. That's how much I love the character.
Jesus. But no, so basically the 2 characters that have been leaked, or their images, is Draman, the skinned Oni-looking creature, and apparently Quan Chi's returning as a resurrected sorcerer. In 10, Scorpion cut his head off, and in the concept, or this leaked concept art, or whatever you want to call it, he's got like this harness going on, like it's connecting his head to the rest of his body, which I think is kind of clever. I just kind of wish he would stay dead.
I understand there are resurrection and returning from the dead is a thing in Mortal Kombat, but sometimes you just gotta leave the character dead.
Yeah, to make the game interesting, or the story.
Mm-hmm.
This is exactly why Mortal Kombat died off during Armageddon. Because there was much. People were tired of it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, the trailer also kind of suggests that we might actually get to use weapons. Finally.
You've always been able to.
As in an actual fight.
Oh, right. I remember that, I think it's Armageddon. That's the only game I actually have. If you selected the styles, you could actually have a weapon equipped when you fight.
Yeah, basically after... That was going on until... until Mortal Kombat versus DC. They took that out. And then ever since then, 9 through 10, you don't get to use weapons anymore. And people kind of want more interesting.
Yeah. You are cutting out like a motherfucker. I can understand what what you're saying.
There are other people here.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
I think we should take a break.
Right. But yeah, that was Mortal Kombat 11.
Mm-hmm.
And
I will actually
let
me grab the trailer and put it in the description on YouTube.
Good idea. All right, so we're going to take a quick break, everyone, and we will be back soon.
Yep. All right. While I am getting Mortal Kombat trailer. There we go. That's in the description on YouTube. Popping over to Twitch to put it in the chat. We're going to take a quick break. And during the break, the intro song is going to be playing on repeat. If you don't like it, that's fine. Oh, I need to change that, don't I? Let's see, do I have the Christmas version? I don't know. I need to go make that soon. Yep, I don't have a new break then. So yeah, the intro music is going to play on repeat. If you don't like it, that's fine. Just mute and tab away, or just simply ignore it. However you do. But now is the time to get up, stretch, go to the bathroom, reconnect with the hive mind, or get into contact with the mothership. However you do it. We will see you guys as soon as we can, because technical issues right now. See you in a bit, everybody. I'm just going to stop that early. We're still very much on break. I'm doing something in the background to make a better break time image. Just trying to figure something out over here. Unfortunately, I'm not going to put the screen on what I'm doing. I mean, person's got to keep their secrets, don't they? I almost want to put stuff with brand names on it. But I don't want to get in trouble, so yeah. Just gonna wait on my friend Rev to come back. In the meantime, I am just working on something. Rev is here? Okay.
Alright, and I'm back. Sorry I was gone. Had something to take care of.
It's alright.
Alright. So
I can take us out of break time, but I am working something on in the background.
So let's. I guess I'll kind of take over from here, at least in terms of topics or talking points.
I'll still talk. Just, I am working on some.
It's alright. So let's get into the next one, and that is Mutant Year Zero Road to Eden.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, for anyone who doesn't know, or yeah, Mutant Year Zero is Road to Eden. Sorry, is a third person or over the sorry
It's an
sort of
XCOM
third
kind of
person
game.
Kind of. Yes, exactly. It's an XCOM kind of, and basically it has you playing as a anthropomorphized boar and a duck.
Quack.
Yeah, that's. But their names are also quite comical.
Borman and ducks.
It's that's so mean. That's so mean. But as the game progresses, you do get 2 more additional characters, or a
Mm-hmm.
few more additional characters. I think one of them can turn her body to stone.
Yep.
There's a guy who has mind powers, and a fox.
Oh,
Yeah, just a
wow.
fox. Yeah, with an eye patch and a Cockney accent. Anyway, so basically, Road to Eden's story is to basically sum it up. You're part of a team or a group of people called Stalkers, and your goal is to another Stalker who's the only man alive who can keep the Ark, the settlement you're part of, running. He's the only one with technical skills. However, as you go out there looking for him, you start to find this weird technology falling from the sky called Mimir, or as they pronounce it, Mimer. Very weird, very odd. And when you do find him, he basically urges you to keep going until you find Eden, which apparently is a real place, not a fairy tale. Throughout the entire adventure, the Elder, the guy who runs the Ark, is urged not to go to Eden, as he believes that Eden or any knowledge of the past is evil and should be forgotten. And yeah, it's just that's kind of the baseline goal of the game. Personally, I did see much of it. I sat down, I watched a lot of the information, a lot of the cutscenes. So there is a glitch actually with the game, a very nasty one. It is basically, for some reason, the game will have a visual freakout, and it will cut immediately to the title screen. But it'll do it very quickly. It's very distracting and sporadic. I don't know why that happens. It could be like I said, it's present in a lot of different people's gameplay and everything. So it's possible it's not something limited to certain people's rigs or anything. It's like it's probably a giant issue all over the place.
Yeah.
But other than that, the game is pretty solid, or it runs solidly. That said, however, I do need to preface this. And I found out that, Mutant Year Zero, as we stated before, is part of a tabletop RPG game.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, hold on, let me see if I can find something real quick.
It's based off a game called Mutant.
Yeah, so let me see. Yeah, some claim based off of or came from Sweden.
Yep.
At least that's what some people say, and I think it could be. But this is the thing that I've been trying to figure out when it comes to Road to Eden, and that is there where does this story fit with the rest of the Mutant series? And this has been something that's bothering me now. I have been trying to figure out where what the larger story is, and I did find out that there are books from Mutant Year Zero.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if these are like actual you can sit down and read them, or if these are tabletop books. The typical. Here's the what's the word? Here's the tome of the franchise and what you can and can't do, which is kind of telling. As far as I can tell, Mutant Year Zero, or Road to Eden, sorry. It feels like it could be what's the word? It feels like a prequel. It feels like a prologue to the larger game story. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
I think I could do a quick, kind of plot summary real quick. Or we should, kind of put up the spoiler thing or whatever.
I can put up the spoiler.
Okay.
Okay, there we go. It's up. If you guys see the spoilers thing on the screen, mute the stream until it goes away.
Yeah. But basically, so this is what we know. Mutant Year Zero's, or Road to Eden story is In the beginning, there was a lot of catastrophes that happened to the Earth. Each are things like global warming, plague, yada yada. One of the big ones is like called the Blood Plague, which was carried by rats, which basically had people die slowly, horrifying. So the world is kind of destroyed. Everything beyond, there are only small settlements, too small to really be much of anything. But out there in the world, there are individuals called, and these are, I'm not sure if they're mutants or people just wearing gas masks or something. It's not really
They are.
clear.
They're just people wearing masks.
Okay.
He's talking
Well,
about ghouls,
basically,
just so everybody knows.
yes. So basically, the ghouls, what's the word I'm looking for? Basically, the ghouls are just a faction that always attacks. They're basically raiders, is what I want to say.
They're also not right in the brain.
And yes, they are very much tribalistic, very, very simple-minded. They can't read, they can't do much.
Mm-hmm.
So they attack anyone, they attack settlements, they just steal and take. The Ark is apparently a very secretive place, and not a lot of people know about the Ark. Not even the ghouls. Even though they've heard of it, they don't know where it is. The Stalkers are individuals who show unique talents, usually mutants, who go out there into what's called the Zone, which is basically the entire region that is just filled to the brim with ghouls, to recover stuff, salvage anything they can find.
Mm-hmm.
That is what makes up. You come back to the Elder, the guy who runs the Ark, and it's revealed that somewhere along the lines, Hammond, the name of the engineer, has gone missing. You go after him, you find two members of his crew, two humans, one who is, the girl that can turn her skin to stone, and the other is the mental or mind-based mutant, who's very emotionally stunted, I should say. As you pick up the trail, you start noticing that more and more machines are being produced. Machines that have been dormant for centuries are coming back online, and nobody knows why. It's very strange. It's then revealed that during this time period, a sect of ghouls, I forget the name, it's like Sec something? Like Psysec, or you know what I'm talking about, right?
Nope. I did not get that far.
Right.
I got as far as the chick.
Okay. Basically, there is a group who worships a nuclear missile, and they want to find what they call the sacred numbers, which is the codes to activate the missile. That's their goal, basically.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's underneath a cathedral of all places. They want to find, they want to use the engineer and pry his mind so they can find the code to the rocket. Hammond is very curious, and so he immediately assumes that the rocket, he's figured it out, or has come close to figuring out the codes for the rocket, which after you do find Hammond underneath the cathedral, you find out that when the world came to an end, multiple survivors basically created shelters, which they call enclaves. And, they're underground bunkers, just like Fallout, underground bunkers, but one of them is in space. It's revealed that these underground locations, for a time, held humanity. They held of mankind. But then over the course of time, they started to get too comfortable, and they started to launch wars with each other once more, which led them to basically die out. And the one in space, which I think is Eden, or is referred to as, I'm not sure, basically had them being the last group. And it's heavily implied that they're all dead because they want to be immortal, but it failed horribly. It's here that Borman, Dux, and the rest of the crew get the mission from Hammond that warns them that the mutants know where Ark is and are possibly planning a massive attack against it,
Ghouls.
using the missile.
Ghouls, not mutants. Ghouls.
I'm sorry. The ghouls are planning to use the missile to hit Ark and cleanse the zone, in quotes. Concerned by this, and concerned by their leader, who, again, name escapes me, they decide to go to Eden and cut off the ghoul army before they can fire the missile. As this happens, or as it goes on, they start to uncover more and more of their history, more strange oddities, more about the past. They even its city, and they're forced to see the horrors of what the blood plague was. They even found out that the designed to keep people out, but keep people in. The only way to stop the blood plague, apparently, was if it was contained in cities and people just died from it. That's basically what is said. They go through all this, and then finally, they find the entrance to Eden, an underground elevator underneath another cathedral, I think. No, sorry, it's out in the open. Concerned by this and realizing that the answers are underneath, they decide to go into Eden. It's here they find out that Eden was doing mutant experiments specifically, trying to create hybridized human life or improved human life so that way they could either wage war above or survive underground. Sorry, on the world. As they go through the laboratories, what's the word? They find out that there has been multiple military. Actually, sorry, the other enclaves were actually trying to establish peace. They were trying to make like some sort of united enclave utopia, something like that, but talks broke down and a war broke out again. It's further down that they discover that, they start seeing the evidence of mutant experiments. X-rays showing Dux's head, boar, DNA specimens. They even find the decomposing skeleton of a minotaur in one of the dissection labs. Find a nursery, a replica of the of a forest up all the way up, deep underground, and it's just filled with kids' toys and things of that nature. It's very clear that this is where the mutants were kept as children. There's even a school with drawings and everything, and it's very alarming. You hear Borman is confused and he doesn't want to. He's forced to kind of confront what his past is. It's very interesting. As it turns out, all the mutants actually are born or have a severe case of amnesia, and they have no idea why. Yet when Borman and Dux come through the facility, they start to remember things that they shouldn't remember. The lab, this children's school, the nurseries. It gets really, really disturbing. Finally, they reach the last bit of the terminal and find out everything. Find out that they were experiments, that they were guinea pigs for this particular enclave, for reasons yet unknown. Again, just human-animal splicing by the looks of it. Mutations, things to improve, maybe adapt from. Yet amongst this, one scientist wanted nothing of it. He took them, maybe even saw them as his own children. And then there were orders to terminate all mutant experiments. That it failed, and now they were in open war with one of the other enclaves. And the scientist just couldn't take it. So he stole as many mutants as he could and ran out of the facility. It turns out this man is the Elder, and thus it explains why he's so adamant about no mutants or anyone going to these ancient places to rediscover the past. Anybody to realize that he, that he was part of these experiments, that he is an ancient, as they call them. He doesn't want anybody to know about this.
Yeah.
And what's more disturbing is that there are places you can go out in the world to find audio logs of him when he was still that doctor. And it turns out he tried, as it turns out, he and the ghouls used to be close. They were trying to build something, but the ghouls that wouldn't follow him, he would euthanize, kill them right there, so that way the others wouldn't question him, or the mutants wouldn't be so exposed to thinking outside of his own. Again, it's pretty fucked up when you think about it.
Yeah.
But benevolent father tyrant, Rather telling.
I did not understand that. What?
I said benevolent father, tyrant in disguise.
Hmm.
So that's basically where the game ends. It ends with one final transmission. The orbiting enclave trying to send a message to the ground, implying that they're still alive and that there could be more on the horizon. And this is where my issue kind of comes up. Is this a prequel to the tabletop and the books, or is this like doing its own thing heading forward?
Hmm.
I have been trying to find out information as much as humanly possible, like a timeline. Where does Road to Eden fit and everything else? Is there a chronological order, or are all the books just their own stories? Nothing's connected.
Who
Or is
knows?
there going to be more story?
Is there going to be
See.
sequels to this or like DLC?
Exactly.
Your audio is really freaking out.
Hello?
Hi.
I'm here. Are you trying to say something?
Your audio was really freaking out.
What's happening tonight?
My brother's not even watching football anymore. Or at the very least, he's outside on his phone.
Again,
Can I put the spoilers away now?
Yeah. That's everything I've kind of covered. Yeah, but again, like I said, this has been the big thing on my. Where is this going?
We'll have to wait and see.
Hopefully this does well enough to kind of get some more closure.
Mm-hmm.
I doubt it really, because this does feel like a very niche game for people. Very specific to a few people, I should say. But who knows? Maybe I'll be wrong.
Maybe.
All right. Yeah, it's like, yeah, maybe I'm just a motherfucker. Okay. All right, and that was. Oh, I should mention, yeah. It plays like XCOM.
Yeah.
It plays
But
almost
like unlike
one-to-one
XCOM, it's like real-time action.
Yes, or here's the thing: there are two different gameplays. One is over the head, third person, walking to different places, like a lot of exploration, sneaking before engaging, and then XCOM.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're interested in that, go for it. That's what I should say. All right, let's go.
Yeah.
So let's go into Rage 2. Or the trailer for Rage 2, I should say.
I'll go watch the trailer. Muted, of course.
All right, you know what? I'll do the same. Just so we can have like something on. What's the word? So we're on the same page. So here's an idea, right?
It's Bethesda?
Yeah, it's Bethesda.
Oh boy.
They have the IP to Rage as well. So hold on. Let me find it as well. So, which one are you looking at? Open world trailer or
Open world trailer.
Okay, I think this is the one I'm talking
That creature
about.
looked like oh, what is it? Oh god, what was it? Like Hecaton. It looked like Hecaton.
Something from Doom?
No, it was something from Bulletstorm.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. So hold on. Start already? Hello?
What?
Did you start already?
Yeah.
Oh, son of a, where are you?
Giant mechs shooting. He's in a field. That's a monster truck. What the hell is that? Two naked dudes in a baby mask. Wellspring. Welcome to Wellspring. The fuck? So this is like Mad
It's-
Max a bit.
Exactly. It's Mad Max meets meets Borderlands.
Echo Pod. That guy is just
It's
peeing.
yeah. We don't kill him while peeing. We just kind of take his ride.
You have powers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, this is something I wanted to say is that the original Rage was clearly trying to be Mad Max. That was the idea. But it didn't, it did that, but it didn't sell well enough to get its own sequel right then and there. Until Bethesda came in and said, you know what, let's take the IP and change it. And here we are.
Is Mad Max again. But with a
Except
company that has been
more so.
shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing I want to mention is that so the original Rage, it was, let's get that out. It was very boring, not a lot of people enjoyed it, but it was fun for what it was. There was a story there, and everyone was very animated, like you would talk to them and they would like kind of not just bob their heads, but actually emote, walk around, show body language, that kind of thing. And for the time, it was pretty impressive. But again, the game was very, very niche. Not a lot of people were like, "Oh, that's amazing," or "Oh, it's just okay." It's just Mad Max. So the sequel is basically just gonna be, how insane can we go with this? And they never look back at all.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's right.
It's well. Here's the thing. There was, in the first Rage, there was an antagonist, and there, the Order or something like that, or the High Tech. I don't know. It was some generic name like that. And the idea was is that they have extremely advanced technologies, while everybody else is like kind of cobbling together pistols and guns out of scrap metal. And that was kind of the idea. They rule over every space of territory, and they don't play nice, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But it basically ended with you destroying one of their big weapons, but it ended in such a way that's like, oh, find out? Wait for Rage 2, which never happens. This game is clearly like going ahead in the timeline. Like really, really, really ahead in time to what we see now. Which is interesting, if anything. So I guess the main focus in this one is more to do with like bandits and raiders more so than the big bads you face in the first one. Which I'm not bothered by. It's a fun concept, if anything. It's just gonna be very, very odd, but in a good way.
Yeah.
I don't even know if you're playing the same guy from the first.
Wait, how far into the timeline would it be then?
Well, Wellsprings, that little place
Yeah.
used to be just a gas station.
Okay then. Probably not too far
So-
into the timeline.
I think. No, I would say 50 years, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, just it has to be within like someone's lifetime for everything to be that impressive. Because in Rage 2, you left an impression on everyone. You know, the man who came out of a vault. Yes, there are also vaults in this one too.
Real classy, Bethesda.
Well, they called them arcs, and you were like, It's not like the vaults you lived in. Like you were a person popsicle, basically.
Hmm.
And something happened. The arcs had almost all malfunctioned. So most of the people died except you. And your goal is to find the only arc that has like well over like billions of people or something insane like that. And then wake them up so they can go out into the world and kind of repopulate the planet. Hence why there are so many new areas and why everything's so much bigger. That's kind of like what they're making it out to be.
Hmm.
So yeah, like I said, it's gonna be peculiar if anything. And actually, I kind of like the idea that even though they opened that arc, the people didn't rebuild society. They just all gave into their baser instincts and created all this. Because before, the raiders were like, they were very small. Like we're talking clan-sized. And they would only ever occupy one area in the entire game, or depending on where you were in the game, I should say. But they were all very unique and different. There were some that bleached themselves bone white and lived in the ruins of a big fancy motel. Or there were others who hung around an old garage and spoke with British accents and had the British flag, tattooed on their faces. Or, just these very unique but very, very small tribes of raiders. And the people who were in the bigger cities were also, there weren't many people, and they were still considerably small in comparison. Like we're talking maybe 30 people per city or per small settlement, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's like you saw from the trailer, like there are these there's like whole giant cities and places of that nature. So it's interesting. I want to see where this goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's again, Bethesda is trying so very hard to survive this own collapse. That's cute. Actually, there were also mutants in the first game, but they were very like different, I should say. Like there were some that had actually like grown, their skin had grown so strong that it looked like pure rock. And when you blew off a chunk, you could see like muscle and sinew, but it still looked like rocks. Or there were others that, like I said, they were mutants in the sense their bodies had deformed, but had tried to adapt it to the new world as well.
Mm-hmm.
And there were even these gigantic mutants, like the one you saw in the game or in the trailer. One of them was bigger than that, and it was a boss in the previous game. Hard to imagine, really, when you think about it. Anyway.
Still, it looked like Hecaton.
Yeah. But more cybernetic.
There is like a version of Hecaton where it's robotic, though.
Yeah, but that's a toy. Oh, that still cracks me up. But no, like I said, I want to see where this goes, and hopefully it does the Doom thing, where you have a weapon wheel instead of just 2 weapons per. You can only carry 2 weapons.
Mm.
Actually, that's something the first Rage did really well. You had a weapon wheel for that one too, and you could like assign 3 weapons to your hotbar at any given time. Like, oh, I'm out of ammo for my first gun, push button, get second one. That was basically how it worked.
Oh, Ratchet and Clank did that too.
Yeah, exactly. And what was interesting is that all the guns could have specialized ammo too. So not only did you have more weapons to pick from, you had a lot more ammo to pick from too. Like the revolver or the starting pistol, right? It's like a little revolver, but it's designed in such a way that the bullets are in their own separate chamber. So all you have to do is pop the chamber out and put in a new. That said, you also have the ability to install different kinds of ammo into different chambers, and one of them was like bottle rockets that you could put in explosive or rocket shots. So even when you got more and more weapons, the further in the game, you could still rely on the starter weapons, and they would still be quite effective. That's something you don't see often.
Oh, motherfucker, there's another one. I killed the other one during the break. Now there's another. Fuck.
What else? Oh yeah. So that also said, not only was there there was also an interesting death mechanic, or death mechanic. Basically, you have healing items, so it isn't like stand behind cover and get health back. But it also was what's the word? If you died or got knocked down close to death, there was actually in the game explains this. You have a defibrillator inside your chest at all times. So when you get downed, you actually have the chance to bring yourself back up by playing a small mini game where you actually shock
Defib
yourself back
yourself.
to exactly. And the more times you got down, the faster it would go until eventually you just have to reset. Again, that's actually pretty smart, and I hope they bring it back for the sequel. But of course, you'll know people will bitch about that too. It's like, oh my god, how can I? I'm down, dude. How do I get myself back up? I don't want to play this stupid defib game. People are gonna be like that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but yeah, I like the open world. I like the attacking space, fighting the giant mutants. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that at least. All right, I think we've covered everything on Rage 2. So moving on to the next one. Actually, this was the last second thing. That is Star Wars 1313.
Oh boy.
So have you heard of this one before?
Nope.
Basically, the original Star Wars 1313 goes like this. You are playing a young Boba Fett during, I believe it's the start of the Empire or somewhere, like post Clone Wars, pre-Empire kind of period.
Yeah.
And the basic idea was you and a squad of other bounty hunters, friends that Boba knows, are going to level 13, which is the place on ever.
The what?
Place on Coruscant.
You're cutting out what?
The worst place on Coruscant.
Ah, okay.
It's like, picture Detroit mixed in with Cuba.
Oh god.
Yes, that bad. But that was the idea. You would go down to this level. Actually, I love how symbolic it is as well, because it's a giant hole. You know how the city looks? It's massive, very clean, very bright.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like a gigantic hole that goes all the way down. The further down you go, the darker it gets.
Well, yeah.
It's like, I'm going to hell. I'm actually going to hell. Yeah, but that was the basic idea. People were excited. It was gonna be like Uncharted. It's gonna play exactly like it. Big set pieces, you fighting against a lot of people, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
That was the idea. But then Disney came in and said, fuck this game. Let's instead make the loot box games.
No.
And people got pissed. Nobody was happy about it. That was until recently, where let's see, where can I find it? Sorry, I'm kind of looking for information when it comes to 1313. Let's pick random website. Let's see, yada yada. Game of Thrones, blah blah blah. Okay, I'm gonna try something else. Hold on. Sorry.
No,
I'm
you're
usually
fine.
on top.
You're fine.
It's like usually I'm on top of this sort of thing. But this has been like last second sort of. Oh, look at this! Look at this. Let's see. All right, let's see. News. Let's see. Pedro Pascal. Yeah, a lot of this is like saying things like, "Oh, Star Wars 13 is being like put into the Mandalorian, which is a live action TV show." That's what they're saying so far, but people are also saying that, oh, here we go. Yeah, but basically people are saying it's coming back as part of the Mandalorian TV show. That's what some people are saying. Others are suggesting that it actually might not. The game might be made again, but it's still up in the air, really, which is a pain in the ass. So yeah, but people are excited, and that might make the Mandalorian palpable. And by that I mean like really worth watching. But I don't know if people are gonna like that though, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
Like, what's more interesting? Watching some guy doing a or doing it yourself in game format? Anyway, I'll look more into this in the future. If anything comes up, I'll put it back on the topics and we can talk further.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I guess we go on to the last bit. This is kind of like a topical piece. Or not topical, but like concept piece. And that is, what game does horror better? Silent Hill or Resident Evil?
When I saw that topic, I asked Lycan and Snow their opinions on that, just off the cuff. Snow is really interested in Silent Hill as a horror. Like, she likes psychological horrors, which is what Silent Hill is all about.
Yes. More occult.
Yeah. While Lycan doesn't care for either one. He likes horror like the Alien movies or Dead Space, that kind of stuff, sci-fi stuff.
Okay. Well,
thank you for your input, Random Motorcycle.
and just like, motherfucker.
It's like, no, that's your opinion.
he's still fucking going. No, it's not a motorcycle, it's a car.
Well, I'm just gonna shame it by saying it's a motorcycle.
All right.
But personally, just like I like Resident Evil a lot more than Silent Hill, even though I can't handle horror stuff anymore. And I don't really know why. I have no really creative way of explaining why. Just I prefer Resident Evil.
All right. Well, this is I suppose I'll get into my own point. I think Silent Hill is more disturbing and creepy than Resident Evil, only because the creatures and the setting can't be easily explained away. It's more how do I put it? Resident Evil, you know where the creatures come from.
Yep.
You know how they're made. You know how to fight them.
Yep.
Silent Hill is different. The creatures are not well explained, or we don't know where they're from, and you don't know if you can kill them or not. And I think that leans more towards the horror, creepy aspect of Silent Hill, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
If we're just looking at direct horrifying design, I should say.
Mhm.
I think that's where Resident Evil is horror avenue. Because this is all science based. We know where the zombies come from. We know how these creatures come into existence. They're born in some lab somewhere. Yet with Silent Hill, these creatures are born from someone's mind, or they just exist with
Or
no real
created by a Shiba Inu.
or by a dog. Yes,
That was still
Apparently.
amazing.
it's so dumb. Dog ending. No. But that's the point I'm making, is that these creatures cannot be explained away so easily. And this is where the fear and the horror lends itself to. Because not only that, but apparently not everyone sees the same thing when they're in Silent Hill.
Yeah.
And that's what makes things so much.
I was going to mention
I-
that, like, the reason Silent Hill is able to be so scary is because I can hear myself, by the way.
Oh, sorry.
Is because nothing is the same. It's always different for somebody else. When you're in Silent Hill, you see your sins. You see anything that reflects to you. Nobody else can see that.
Right. Or exactly. Now, there's a gripe I want to kind of get off my chest when it comes to Silent Hill, and that is everyone says they want to go back to Silent Hill's roots as a horror game, but they don't. They keep going back to Silent Hill 2 because people are like, oh, it's so good because it deals with the mind and symbolism. I would like to remind everyone it's based on occultism. That's the point of the Silent Hill games.
Yes, that's the point of the Fallout games.
That too. Don't you know it's all cult magic. The bombs never
Cult all about money.
Exactly. No. It's basically, but that's the point. Silent Hill is about occultism, about how some individuals worship a demon effectively and continue to try and bring this demon that they view as a god into our world through a girl who must be sacrificed to birth the god effectively. That's the point. But everyone wants to go back to the psychological horror aspect of 2. But that's what kills any attempt at Silent Hill. And that's the problem. At least in a nutshell. Like, how do I put it? Silent Hill 1 and 3, and to some extent 4, deal with the occultism. And the creatures are created through one individual. And that is the girl of the cult or someone who's attempting to do the ritual. As it turns out, with each game that... Hold on. The hell was that?
What?
Oh, it's something else. Sorry. I saw something. It's like, oh, there's background. What is that? No, sorry. But that's the point I'm trying to make. Is that with Silent Hill and sorry. But that's the point I'm making with Silent Hill specifically. The creatures are created from one individual's mind, what they viewed as evil or tormented by. With the girl Alessa, it was dogs and monsters, something a child would think up of. In Silent Hill 3, it's similar concepts, but it's the same girl, but what she fears is as she grows into a young woman, she fears things all, I believe, young women would fear. degeneracy, rape, obesity, these kinds of things, you know?
Mhm.
And that's replicated in the monsters. Silent Hill 4, James Sutherland, the serial killer, is obsessed with finding his mother, who he believes is a room, because he was apparently born in a room. Look, again, it's weird, right? But all the monsters are his personal nightmares and demons. And, you know, they're monstrous. They reflect how he views the world, that kind of thing.
Mm.
And that's more horrifying, because you can't rationalize these things, because these are all spawned from one individual's mind. And it's horrifying. It's shocking to see what kind of hell they live in. But then when you go into the unstableism of the oh god, when the game goes sorry, I dropped my pen. When the game goes away from the occultism and focuses more on the individual's personal trauma and suffering, it kind of diminishes the interesting aspect. And by that I mean it's more like what's the perfect, hold on, I think it because the symbolism is heavy when the occultism isn't there, and it's more on the nose. That's where the horror starts to kind of lose, or sorry, that's when the creatures start to lose their horrifying aspects. I'm not counting Homecoming as either, because technically it does have the occultism to it, but the creatures are very like heavily symbolic as well. And for some reason, Pyramid Head's there. Don't ask me why. But that's my point I'm making. Whereas Resident Evil, it rarely loses its horror focus, because the focus is kind of, you know, broad. Man creates the monster. So you can't really lose that sort of core focus of the creatures. And it also gives you an excuse to be a bit more crazy, to be more creative with how these creatures would exist, you know? Like the lickers, for example. Naturally, that wouldn't exist. But because of the virus, because of the mutations occurred, the creature starts to take on this new appearance, and it makes sense in the universe. Where if you were to put it in Silent Hill, it would have to have another, you know, a reason for his existence, and what nightmare the individual must have had by it. That's my point I'm making. But in terms of horror in its purest form, I think both games lose the horror aspect the further the titles go in. Like, you know, Resident Evil, all the Resident Evil games that have like tank controls, where the okay, that was weird, where they all have the you know, the tank controls, the janky mechanics, all those have not tank janky mechanics, all those that have the formula of X number of bullets versus times Y number of enemies. Those are scary because, you know, the resources are limited and scarce. Whereas the later games that give you more ammo and are more action focused are not so scary, because the you know, you have more resources, more abilities. And I think this is where both game franchises begin to fail. This overabundancy of ammo and resources and action set pieces. That's where I think the horror begins to fail and lose. Even Resident Evil 7, which is heralded as the most scary Resident Evil game, loses this because Resident Evil 7, you know, takes up an action motif at the end of the game. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
I can barely understand you.
How can you barely understand?
Well, one, I have a heater behind my head, so the volume's a lot quieter than usual. And two, like, you're cutting out here and there, and I'm trying to piece together what you're saying.
Jesus Christ. Hopefully that picked up elsewhere. What I'm trying to say is that Silent Hill is scarier than Resident Evil because of the unknown creatures, and everything is more based around someone's mind, where Resident Evil is not as scary because after a while you start to get acclimatized to the monsters once you find out how they're made and how to beat them. That's my point. Yes.
All right.
And from your point of view, you mentioned that Silent Hills was more fearful, right? Or causes more fear.
Yeah,
Hmm.
my ex actually pressured me to play one of the Silent Hill games. I forget which one. It was on the PS2.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not
Yes.
get very far. I did not get far at all. I walked down an alleyway, I saw a gurney, and nope, I turned off the game.
and then I noped out of there.
Like, for me, though, a game that actually scared me more than either of these was Alone in the Dark. And that was just
Okay.
because, like, at the time, I was really scared of zombies, and in Alone in the Dark, the zombies are, like, 10 feet tall.
For some reason.
For some reason, they're just freaking enormous. And I'm watching my dad play this game, and, like, the controls are slow. You can sprint past them. It's, like, all janky like the original Resident Evil when you sprint past them. But if you pull out your shotgun and turn around to shoot them, it's like turning a tank. It's slow. And these things are 10 feet tall, and they're in a hallway. They know where you are, no matter where you are in the house. And they slowly walk towards you. This giant Hayman-looking thing is walking towards you, and undead. And you can barely see them, but you know they're there. You can hear them.
Exactly. Still, I in my humble opinion, like I said, I just can't. I can't see Resident Evil as scary anymore. It's startling, yeah, and there are. Oh my God, what's out there? You know, when I don't see the monster, but then after a while, I anymore because it's just such a giant fried ball of cheese.
Nowadays, it's just
further
one
into the
giant
games.
meme.
Yes. And the remake is trying to bring back the fear aspect of Resident, which I'm happy about. You know,
Mm-hmm.
new technology, better light. Here's the. This has been a lesson that I believe modern horror movies and games need to remember. Shadows are your friends. If you can't see the monster when you're supposed to not see the monster, it works a lot better. And that is exactly what Resident Evil 2 is doing. All the maps are lit well, but not so much that you can see everything. There are things honestly hiding in the dark, and it's amazing. Even when something's in the light, you will oftentimes see its shadow before you see it. And that's brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
But Silent Hill, or the more recent ones, don't do that. They focus. Okay, let me put it this way. They make everything too dark to see shit, and not in a good way. More like how am I getting around? How am I navigating this kind of way? And the monsters are just. I don't know if it's the model themselves that are made lighter than usual, or if it's just the engine. But sometimes they'll glow like someone just shined a spotlight on them. Like, "Bing!" Oh, there it is. It's very distracting too. It's like I'm in this pitch black room, but for some reason this pale ass monster is lit up like a Christmas tree.
That was something I always found entertaining in like the early Resident Evils. Like, again, I've explained this every time we have Resident Evil on the show. I would sneak down here into the basement to watch my dad play Resident Evil, and like he would actually use a pencil to scribble on the PlayStation itself, and sometimes the NES, like of things that he needed to know, like his notes. And I wasn't supposed to be watching him play this because it's too scary for me. I was a little kid, but no, there I was watching it in PJs. And you know, it's essentially the don't tell your mother about this. Okay. And it got to a point where he entered a room and there was a moth, like a giant moth. I think you might know what I'm talking about here.
Yeah.
The room was dark, like the textures were all dark, but the moth was the brightest motherfucker I had ever seen. Like this bright gray moth thing just flying around, crawling around when it should have been dark. And like
Exactly.
after my dad had like moved forward for me to see the moth, he backed up so you couldn't see the moth on the screen because the camera was really crap back then. And he just started shooting blindly off the screen. And then he stepped forward. And then he stepped forward again. The moth was dead.
That's my point to a T. And you know why this was a thing back then? Because all the set pieces for those games at the time were they were photographs. Very rarely were they a 3D model. And because of that, the photo or the image or the still image, if you want to go there, was meant to be very black, you know, or to put out the illusion that it's dark. But the actual game wouldn't render it like that. Everything would be as bright as it needs to be, and that is where the problem spawns from. That is the crux of old school horror games. And it's still, to this day, it's still funny. No, I think the only time, or the first time, I was exposed to Resident Evil, the first one was through at my grandparents' house. My brother lived with them while my father was trying to get his life in order. And he had all his PS1 games there. And my brother is a prick. But he also is trying to like prove he's not scared. So he pops in Resident Evil 1 and tries to get me to play the game, so I'm witless. But here's the problem. Before I got anywhere in the game, we were watching the intro cutscene, the classic. Or not the intro cutscene, you know, just the intro of the game itself. And my brother would not shut up about the monster. And it was scared me more than the game itself. To the point where I just wouldn't, I got up and I walked away from the console to play the game at all. And my brother got spooked by the ambient sounds as well. So he also went to me and hid as well. And we were standing behind a solid, behind the wall leading to the room for a good few minds of just by the game itself, the sound of the game. It was so stupid.
The tall guy in the trench coat still freaked me out when I was a kid. Still to this day, I'm scared of him.
Oh yeah, we actually went later with me, my uncle, my brother, father, and here's the funny thing: it was night out, and we were all sitting together watching him play it. This is the thing about my family; they didn't give a fuck if we played violent games or not, because this is the point. We would be scared of the dark and of shadows because of it, and this was our grandparents and our parents' way of teaching us a lesson. Our own fear would be what caused us to stop playing. That is brilliant. And of course, because my brother was such a coward back, my grandpa, Grandpa, would mock him for it, saying, "Well, this is what happens because you were playing Shadow Man. Keep playing them, just." But we didn't get scared when our uncle or my father would play, and we would keep kind of telling him, "Oh, I saw this on the screen." Like it was 2, 4, 6, 8 pairs of eyes, all glued to the screen, all seeing something different, just to help the one player. And it was kind of like, oh, those were the good days. But yeah, like I said, this is where the problem comes in. Old games like that were scarier because it was your imagination that made things scary. Nowadays, it's like, oh, let's make the monster with a lot of textures, and boom, we've got something creepy, Oh, excuse me. But yeah, I guess in conclusion, I think Silent Hill is scarier just for the unexplained nature. Where Resident Evil is more like you can rationalize it in your mind a lot easier than Silent Hill. Is there anything you want to add to that?
Nope.
Anything at all? Okay. Well, I guess that covers everything for tonight. So, like always, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in to this week's episode of Left for Random Talk. This has been Rev and HH, and we will see you all next Thursday.
Yep.
Goodbye.
All right, as per usual, it's just me and the audience here. That technical difficulty thing was not supposed to pop up. I forgot it said that. This is something I say at the end of every stream I do, regardless of it being the podcast or just a gaming stream. Down in the description on YouTube, a link keeps popping up when it shouldn't be there. YouTube really needs to fix that. It says support the stream by clicking this link. Don't click on it. It doesn't work yet. Over on Twitch, it's the same thing, but it's a creeper face. When you click on the creeper face, it's supposed to support us. It's essentially the exact same link as what's on YouTube. Don't click on it. Again, it doesn't work yet. I am very much working on this. I got pulled around at the bank I was trying to join. Got confused, so I'll have to try again. I try to stream every day. I'm actually going to be streaming on Saturday, possibly early on Friday. Who knows? Usually Warframe, planning on it being Terraria this time, sometime soon. I have a straw poll that has gone up on my Tumblr and in my Discord chat. I don't know if I'll put it on Twitter, though, because I'm going to have mixed results. In any case, I try to stream every day. When I can't, I really have no free time anymore. I have to take care of 2 little dogs. Every Thursday, we stream this podcast unless there's technical difficulties. Then we push it to Sunday at the latest. And if we can't do it on Sunday, we pool together all the topics and hope that next Thursday will work. On Saturdays, Friday, which is tomorrow, I am a part of a stream with my friend Lycan, who I'm actually going to host after we're all said and done here. But yeah, definitely go check them out. But yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you all either tomorrow or on Saturday. We will see. And we'll see you on Thursday for another episode of Left for Random Talk. Thanks so much, guys.